Hi, my name is Gabriela Herrera, and for the Speak Your Mind assignment, the topic that I chose that interests me a lot and that I'd like to talk about is the normalization of fast fashion. Now, instead of for this assignment going on to talk about lots of fashion companies, I just want to narrow in on two that I've seen arising and have been popular amongst teens, especially college students. And those two companies would be Zaful and Shein. And I feel like there are a lot of teenage girls who buy from these brands because of how cheap the clothing really is. And I think that it is really hard for uh, students to really think like maybe this isn't good for the environment. I think it's hard to like know the effects and still not buy from them because of how cheap they are able to make their clothing. Like it is really cheap. Like I would say an average shirt from them is like $3 in between like $3 and like $10, which is really cheap compared to like some more expensive or higher brands like Urban Outfitters. But there is such a demand for these clothing for this clothing because fashion brands fashion comes in and out of style. There are certain things that are hot and that everyone wants to wear, um, and I would just want to talk about why they're so cheap and what the effects that they really have on the environment and just the whole process of everything that goes into it. And I feel like students, or I know personally some of my roommates, they know the effects, but if they're necessarily don't make as much money, they're not gonna really like think maybe I shouldn't buy from this brand. And it is the sad reality of fast fashion. And until there isn't such a demand for it, it's gonna be a really big thing going in a couple of years, and the effects of it are really detrimental. And there are just so many different types of effects of what it really does. So when the clothing from Zaful or Shein is made, there are dangerous chemicals. It's just poor quality clothing, and there's not really much resources that are used that are safe necessarily. And a lot of times, a lot of children are making these clothes, and this child labor is really just horrible to even think about. They're probably not being paid that much, and on top of that, environmentally, fast fashion really does pollute rivers and dries up water sources. And there's a huge demand every year because their clothing trends are going constantly in and out. And that was just one thing that I necessarily think about before I buy clothes from those sites. And it is really hard, I think, to not buy from them because if you are looking to buy like clothes, not necessarily for like the quality of it, but like you just want a trendy top that's in style and that like everyone has, it's the cheapest and like most efficient way to go. And I think it is really hard for students or other people who buy from these clothing brands to not to not give in to the prices of those clothes. So, thank you so much for listening. And that was just one topic that I always think about, and it does really interest me, and I like watching a lot of videos on it. Thank you.